Clay is like an earthen pot, in the hands of a great potter. Clay returns to clay. Arise in the land of the living. Yakubibanabantu production.
Yakubibanabantu, Mutoto wa Kibantu, Bana Muntu.
Yakubibanabantu production. Rise in the land of the living.
Okay.
Kembo tatana nzambi ya mazulu mpungu tulendo so nini na nini somandla ngai morungu mwenenyaga depending on where you are. I greet you nusiemi beto abumbote bana bayisolele moloeni abantwana abangone mpo salama watoto wa Mungu moriega kenda moyoni nasio de siangai mpo salama abantwana babato bawo weto oswe mazulini mulishani bwanji
Murife
bwino today we have the privilege of being joined by none other than Sydney Chiluba, son of Muntu Chibwe. It says, you see how proud we are of our ancestral names.
Chibwe means a stone, a very big stone, sure. Thank you.
Yes, and I tell you, it is a stone indeed, Banabeto, because this son of Muntu, guided by the Spirit of the Most High, has written a book.
Indeed, sure.
Has written a book, Africa's Rich Biblical Cultural Concepts. And I'm telling you, Banabeto, the content in this book brings a lot to light. My king, greet your people.
Yes, sir. Greetings to you, my brothers and sisters, the Bantu speaking people in Africa, as well as in the... Hoping that you're all good. This is Sydney CHILUBA CHIBWE from Zambia, and I am an author as well as a student at the University of Zambia studying Bachelor's of Arts in Economic Demography.
So, my king, you're a seeker of truth. How did you come into
Yes, sir.
truth? How did you come into this awakening? How did you come into this realization? Take your time. Take us.
Wonderful. Actually, the way it was is when I learned about the migration of the Bantu-speaking people. The migration of the Bantu-speaking people, that was in grade 8 and grade 9. Grade 8, grade 9, I learned about the migration of the Bantu people. So as time moved, I developed this interest or the desire to know much about the migration of the Bantu-speaking people. Looking at the history, they say that the migration of the Bantu-speaking people started in West Africa. But my question was, before West Africa, where were we? And where did we originate from as the Bantu-speaking people? So when I went further to research about the migration of Bantu-speaking people, I came across a book entitled In the Heart of Bantu Land. Now, in the heart of Bantu Land, this book says, it simply revealed, it says that the people of BEMBA land are the people of Israel, or they are Hebrews of the Bible. So are the people of LUVALE in the Congo, as well as some people in the Congo. So I was like, wow, this knowledge sounds interesting. Therefore, I went further to do like my research and started reading. Now, what I did was because I know the identity of a given group of people is revealed through their culture. Culture is what reveals the identity of a given group of people. Therefore, what I did, I started comparing the two cultures. That is the culture of the Bantu speaking people and the culture of the people that are called the Israelites today in Middle East or Northeast of Africa, and the culture of the Bible. So when I started looking at these three, the culture of the Bible, the culture of the Bantu speaking people, and the culture of the people that are living in Northeast of Africa or Middle East, I discovered that the culture of the Bantu speaking people, it is the Bible itself. And the culture of the people that are calling themselves the Hebrews or the Israelites today in the current state of Israel is totally different. And
we seem to have lost the king. We'll wait for his return.
all right.
So my king, sorry
So yeah,
for this interruption. Please proceed.
Discovered that there's that difference, and there's a big similarity between the ancient and the Bible itself. So, for example, I can give an example of two or more Bantu culture in relation to the Bible that also I've explained in this book, the Africa's rich biblical cultural concepts. So by the Africa's rich biblical cultural concepts, we are simply explaining or expanding the things that are not taught in churches. Like, for example, when you the book of when you the entire story of Ruth.
My king, we know they do attempt to mess around with the networks, especially when the truth is being spoken. We might have lost you for a second there. So perhaps if you can backtrack to the point where you are beginning to give us the example.
Okay, yes. So I looked at these two cultures, these three cultures, the culture of the Bible and the culture of the Bantu speaking people. It is one and the same. And yet the culture of the current people living in Israel or Middle East or Northeast of Africa, that of the Bible is totally different. Okay. Views the identity of a given group of people. Now, when you read, for example, Ruth chapter 10, you read the entire story of Ruth, you're going to find that when Ruth lost his husband,
we seem to be having a lot of network interference, so bear with us. Yes, Mikey.
All right. Okay. So I can give two or more. Let me just give two examples of Bantu culture in relation to the Bible, that the culture that is still living today, it's still going on. Yes. So when you read the story of Ruth, if you go in the book of Ruth chapter 10 and coming down, if you read the entire story of Ruth, you're going to find that when Naomi lost her children, she remained with her daughters-in-law. There was Ruth and the other one. And Ruth decided to go with her mother-in-law where she came from. Okay. Now, in the book of Ruth 10, this is where you're going to find an instruction that Naomi was given to Ruth. She told Ruth to say, go in, check what Boaz is going to be doing there, where Boaz sleeps. Then when Boaz lies down, go there and cover his feet. Then when you uncover his feet, sleep at the feet of Boaz until he tells you what to do. Okay. Now, when you read this, the story of Ruth, where Ruth slept at the feet of Boaz, it doesn't talk about anything like sexual qualifications as it is being preached among the churches. No, it is a custom, an ancient custom that a woman could show to portray respect to a woman or ask for marriage in a respectful way or manner in accordance with the ancient Hebrews of the Bible. Okay. Now, you read this story of Ruth, you're going to find that when Boaz was startled, he never knew that there was a woman lying down at his feet. The Bible says when Boaz was startled, he turned, and when he turned, he found a woman lying at his feet. And he was like, who are you, my daughter? And Ruth's response was, it is I, your maidservant. Take me in as your what? As your maidservant. Now, what was Ruth trying to do here? She was asking for marriage in a respectful what manner. Okay. Now, today, if you come in the Bantu culture, you go to the BEMBA land, you go to Western province, you go to Eastern province, this custom is still going on. Okay. In the Zambian culture, the Bantu culture, the custom by which a woman lies down at the feet of her husband to be during all the Zambian traditional yes, so you look at Ruth, the story of Ruth where she lied down at the foot of Boaz. Now, this custom is still living or going on in most of the Bantu tribes. So, in the custom by which a woman lies down at the feet of her husband to be during all the Zambian traditional marriage ceremony is what we call in Bemba ukukunkula. Okay. Yes. Okay. So the custom by which a woman lies down at the feet of her husband to be is called ukukunkula. So ukukunkula, like in all the Zambian Bantu tribes, every time when a woman she's getting married, she has to lie down at the feet of her husband to portray respect. And this is what Ruth was doing in the book of Ruth when you read the entire story of Ruth. Then apart from this Bantu custom of lying down at the feet, it's on, okay. All right, yes. So you look at every marriages in Zambia, you can go online, you Google something like Zambian traditional marriage ceremony. And you look at the expressions women do, the expression that they give to their husbands, it is one and the same as the story of Ruth, where she had to lie down at the feet of her husband to be. So this is what we call in Bemba ukukunkula. So ukukunkula, you're going to lie down at the feet. I'm back.
Yes, Banabeto, forgive us for the network interruptions. We are doing our best to bring it. So, my king, you are talking of ukukunkula, a culture that is also replicated with our people in the East. You find it among the Kamba and among the Agikoyo, where we call it giving birth between the legs of the elder wife.
Yes.
You know, it is a point of submission.
Yes.
So as you are saying, my king.
It is a point of submission. Yes, it is a point of submission. Yes. It is a point of submission. Like you have to do it if you're a woman during marriages or anything. You show submission. So the way it is she has to lie down. You lie down at the feet of your husband, then you clap twice. Then she turns again the other side. She lies down and claps twice. So it is called ukukunkula in Bemba. Okay. Apart from ukukunkula, when you look at in the Bantu society, and you look at in the scriptures, for example, like Exodus chapter 8.
That is Exodus 18. Let us pause as the king rejoins us. Yes, my king, that was Exodus 18.
So when you read in the book of Exodus chapter 18, verse 5 to 7. Now, Exodus chapter 18, verse 5 to 7 says, there's something that I want to explain this culture. It says, now he said, I, your father-in-law, Jethro, I am coming to you with your wife and her 2 sons with her. So Moses went out to meet his father-in-law, bowed down and kissed him, and they asked each other their well-being and went in the tent. Okay, so when you look at this scripture here, where Moses had to bow down in the presence of his father-in-law, Moses bowed down. Now, when you look at in the ancient Hebrew customs, in the culture of the Hebrews, they used to bow down in the presence of their in-laws. Okay, what is this to bow down? To bow down, we can also carry it as kneeling down in the presence of your in-laws. Okay. So if elderly men like Moses could...
My king, sorry to cut you short.
Yes.
It is a culture we see among the Baganda, the Banyoro, those in Uganda. That point of submission where the woman kneels before the man, not because it is misogynistic, but it is to show submission. Is this what you're alluding to?
Yes, sir. Yes. So Moses could bow down. In the Hebrew customs, they used to bow down. And in our culture, in the Bantu culture, wherever you go to the Bemba, you go to Waganda, you go to the Tonga people, the way it was, if you meet your father-in-law or your mother-in-law, you have to pave way, you kneel down and greet them. And this is what Moses did in form of a bow. So the question now comes in.
My king, just to add on to what you're saying, because it is a learning exercise, iron sharpens iron. And this bowing down, it is not just referring to the person that you're bowing down to. That person represents an ancestry, a genealogy. So you're also honoring their ancestry and their genealogy. My king, do we have you back?
Yes, sir.
Yes, before we lost you, I was explaining it's about when a person represents a genealogy and an ancestry. So bowing down is also bowing to the ancestry and the divinity in that lineage. Would you concur?
Yes, yeah, it's true, sir. It's true. So now, if you look at in the culture of a European or a white man, in the culture of a white man, there is nothing like kneeling or bowing down in the presence of your in-laws. And in the culture of a white man, there is nothing like kneeling down in the presence of elders. Yes, again.
Yes, these are some of the challenges we experience on the continent, but we are not afraid to keep pushing forward to deliver the truth. So, my king, as you were explaining.
Yes. Yes, so I was explaining to say, so when you look at all these customs of bowing down, where an elderly man could bow down in the presence of his in-laws, in the presence of a king, the question that we need to be asking ourselves is if men that were
We seem to have lost the connection again. And since we are live, we have to keep waiting for the reconnection.
okay.
So, yes, my king,
yeah,
back to you.
So I was explaining to say, men were older enough could bow down in the presence of men that were older than them. The question that we need to ask ourselves is, what sort of rules or customs governed the youths? You can tell from the expression of the elders to say, these groups of people were lawful people. And their youths could as well bow down or kneel down in the presence of their elderly men. Now, in the culture of a white man, there is nothing like kneeling down in the presence of your father or kneeling down in the presence of any man that is older than you. There are questions that we need to be asking ourselves. We know some people will say that no, culture evolved, or the culture of a white man evolves. But what they forget to talk about is, though the entire culture of people may evolve, their ways of life cannot just entirely cease from existing. Okay, culture cannot cease entirely from existing. Culture is dynamic, it evolves, it moves, but culture cannot cease entirely from existing as we are seeing this with a white man. No, culture doesn't cease to exist. Okay. Yes, sir. So you look at these customs. Yeah, this is the Bible. It's the book of the Bantu speaking people. That's the culture of the Bantu speaking people. Okay. So I explained these things in this book, in Africa's rich biblical cultural concept. So when we talk the Africa's rich biblical concepts that were handed over by our ancestors from ancient times till to date, these are the concepts, the cultural concepts that defines who the Bantu speaking people are genuinely. Okay, this is the book, the African Rich Biblical. I'm not going to explain a lot. People have to read these customs on their own.
Yes, my king, and you know, we always tell them, he who seeks information knows that good things are not. They're not just for the sake. As much as you're doing it, you're using your resources, my king. You're using you have input your time. And it's for the truth. So we encourage you, Banabeto, to buy the book. The king has partnered with Bantu Re-Education TV. We do not do this as a profit enterprise. We just want the truth to get out there. It's a good book. It should be what our children in the diaspora are reading, the actual history of their people. It's got deep substance. It's got deep biblical comparison. The king is not just picking, he's not pulling ideas from his rare quarters and picking them and sticking them there. There's a flow. You get to understand. You get to understand. You know, it is we know. It is we know. Or is it that how we say it, my king?
We know.
It is we know.
We know, son.
It is kabotu. You know.
What?
It is. It is. We continue to ask you, Banabeto, who are you? This is East Africa, and there is Zambia, Lusaka. We speak the same language. I have never stepped a foot into Zambia. But we can relate with the king. So reach us out. We'll put the king's contact information. Let's make this partnership. Let's stop relying on the white man's books. Let's retell our story. You know, we have entered the month of Dwarha, in those of in the south. You know, it is the month of the lily. You know, it's the month of beauty, the month of regeneration. So, my king, perhaps to sign out, in the tongue of our ancestors, and you will help me with this. You will have no
Okay.
problem picking up from where I dayo. Shifwe wa mumulu ishina yenyu libelwe akatina ubufumu bwetu bwise ukufwaya kwenyu kasitwe pasonge na mulu. My king.
Okay, so tupele ni chakulya echi lelo mutwelele imisha yesu ngefyo iwe tulekala abatulile misha mwitulya mututwala mukwesha lelo mututwale mufyabipa bantu ubufumu bwenu bufumu namaka nokuchindamwa fenu umuyayaya. Amen. Thank you.
Ngeta
Thank you.
Magubenjalo, let it be so, let it be so. That is a wrap, Banabeto. Until next time, we say Dayo Ngemba Hotep. Wish them peace in the local tongue, my king.
Mwikale umutende. Umutende nakasha sana. Sure.
Mwikale mutende.
Mwikale umutende na imwe.
Wiso.
Yakubibanabantu. Lutoto wa kibantu.
All praises to Sormini Narmini. Yakubibanabantu.
Rise of a nation, sounds from a liberated Bantu.
Yakubibanabantu. Lutoto wa kibantu.
All praises to Sormini Narmini. Yakubibanabantu.
Rise of a nation, sounds from a liberated Bantu.
Yakubibanabantu. Lutoto wa kibantu.